morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Pick'em, the Saturday morning show. Gotta love it. Getting ready for football, and I have myself an all-star cast of characters there. And Marvin Paul, number 3. Welcome back.
Hey, happy to be here. Can't wait. Happy to see you guys. Ready to talk some sports.
And we have Candy Eveling, our Rolls Royce of researchers, and then some is back in the house. Candy.
Always great to be here talking football with you fine gentlemen.
And we have our running back, Mel Farr Jr. in the house.
Well, I'm not the only running back anymore. We got Marvin here too, so don't forget that.
So what? You were the original.
I claim more fullback. I'm a fullback, blocking
fullback.
I don't claim that. I don't claim that.
I claim it. I'm the last time breed, baby.
Get this. He's a fullback. You're running back, and I'm a quarterback, and I'm handing the ball off to everybody and throwing it. I'm a gunslinger. You ever figured it? Yeah, that's early, but I still have energy. Right, Scott?
Absolutely. I'm here to mediate.
Yeah, there you go. Good luck trying. Then again, being a lawyer from another lifetime agent, sports agent, you probably could get away with that and look credible doing it. All right, well, let's say so. We have a really busy agenda today. I hope everybody can stay on for the entire show. Now, before I do that, though, I'm going to give Scott an opportunity to give a shout out to Roundtable, one of our affiliates here at the South Florida Tribune, the Brick Media Network. So it's a joint venture between the two of us, and I've really enjoyed it so far, Scott. But nobody hasn't seen anything yet. All right, so go out there and give a shout out to our Roundtable.
Roundtable Sports is the fastest growing global sports network in the world. We have a philosophy that we build community, and we're looking to interact with the fans and interact with the readers. If you look on all of our team sites and our national sites, we have a community page where we have the community come in and give us their opinion on what we write, and we answer back to them directly. This is the only network where you can correspond directly with the writers and with the people who present the news and give your opinion and have your opinion responded to. So I encourage everyone to go to roundtable.io and find the team of your choice under Choose Teams. My company publishes for 6 sites, and Scott is our executive producer and broadcaster. And we put up a lot of quality content, and my other colleagues are just as good, if not better. I take my hat off to them, and we're really going to make a move in 2026. We are the future of sports news.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're all a part of it here as well. So, all right, with that said, Scott, obviously a lot more updates. 2026 is going to be a really exciting year. And I can guarantee you we're going to work our tail to make sure that content is top-notch all the way. And with the group of talent that I've assembled here, there's no reason why we won't be able to do it. And Scott does make some appearances here on the South Florida Tribune Media Network as well. So he provides his 2 cents on a lot of key important topics, whether it's NFL, NBA, and whatnot. All right, well, let's take care of some business now. We're going to lead off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were at, I like to use the number 13, 9-4 during week 13 going into their game versus the Jets. Well, we all know how that turned out. In 2024, though, they were 4-13. 2023, they were 9-8. 2022, they were 9-8. 2021, they were 3-14, and in 2000, they were 1-15. 2019, they were 6-10. 2018, they were 5-11, and 2017, they were 10-6. Now, as I mentioned, all those particular records, when you look at the sum of the whole and the whole of the parts, okay, Scott, what are your thoughts about what we've seen so far, knowing that, you know, they've been up and down during that period of time, and that now maybe there's a chance for some sustainability?
Well, when the Jaguars were under Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson, they were a classic dumpster fire. But Liam Cohen and his staff have brought in continuity and chemistry, and they're making it fun for the players where they actually want to show up. They're not used to having a coach that they're excited about going to see every day. When they come to practice, it's not a chore. And that's why you're seeing the Jaguars perform so well this season, is because they want to be there. They're happy to be there. They love Duval, and they really enjoy their coaching staff. and they're really meshing together as one.
Okay, Marvin.
Listen, in the NFL, you can't compete. You're not going to have a good record if you don't have things in place. If you don't have the GM, if you don't have the right owner, the right GM, the right head coach, the right quarterback, the right team, you can't go out there and compete against these elite programs, these elite teams who are set up and have these things in place. The Jaguars have been up and down since they started playing ball. They've had a couple of runs, no doubt about it. But, it's not until recently with the acquisition of Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen, that they've been able to really to compete at a high level. We're seeing it now where they put everything together and they can go out there in the AFC and compete against, the Patriots or the Chiefs and all these other AFC teams who have been great over the last couple of years, couple of decades. So, yeah, get your organization together, get everything aligned, and you'll have a chance to compete and win games. It's tough to win in the NFL. The NFL is the most competitive league in the world, and you have the best football players in the world in that league. You have smart owners, smart GMs, and the standard is high to be good or to be great. And if you don't have these things aligned, you're going to be, what they've been in the past.
Mel.
Yeah, I mean, leadership matters. I mean, you get the right person leading the team makes a difference. You see. When Jack Del Rio was there, Jacksonville was a very difficult out back then. They played tough, hard-nosed, physical football, and since he's been gone, they've struggled for a while. So now they got the right leadership in there. Obviously, they have a franchise quarterback, and it's showing out on the field. The progress that they've made because they've made the right decisions in the leadership. I mean, it matters when you get an adult in the room. I thought that who came in there after Urban Meyer, the guy from Philly. I thought he was a good coach. I thought he was a good coach. Yeah, Doug Peterson. I thought he was a good coach because of what he did at Philadelphia. Maybe he got a little bit more of an opportunity. Maybe if that GM situation wasn't what it was at that particular time, it might have panned out differently for him. But obviously, they got the right GM now. They got the right head coach now, and they got the right guy under center. And things seem to be on the upswing for Jacksonville.
Candy.
The Jaguars were established November 30th of 1993, so 32 years. So they're a relatively newer franchise. They were an expansion team. They competed in the AFC Central until they were moved to the AFC South in 2002. The franchise is owned by Shad Khan, and he bought the team from its original majority owner, Wayne Weaver, in 2012. They had early success. Their first coach was Tom Coughlin. From then, they went to Jack Del Rio, and then they've gone through a number of them till they landed on Liam Cohen. The Jacksonville Jaguars, their fan base is just waiting for them to be good and get further on in the playoffs. Now, they have made the playoffs for a couple years. They made playoff appearances since 2000, in 2005, 2007. Then they didn't go back until 17, and now 22, and now 2025. The fans just want a good product on the field. I remember when we first started covering them, Scott, that they would cover with a tarp the upper stands because they didn't have enough fans in attendance. Now they're not doing that because they don't have to do that because they're better, they're more relevant. And exactly what everybody has said, coaching matters. We've talked about that quarterback Trevor Lawrence, he started out with Urban Meyer, and then he went to, and he hasn't had consistently good coaches to help him. Now and sometimes it's about the right fit. And I'm not even going to say it's not a good coach because he's had good coaches, but they didn't gel together and they weren't on the same page. And they didn't see maybe his strengths or how to coach him because everybody, needs a little bit different coaching. But Liam Cohen's got the team playing really well. They're excited. They're happy to be there. And it's only an upside for Jacksonville Jags.
All right, so I have a lot to say on this. Obviously, this is a team that I'm very close to. First of all, okay, what happened to Doug Peterson wasn't his fault. It was Trent Baalke's fault. When you have a general manager like him who's a cancer, what do you expect? Doug Peterson did not take a dumb pill when he came to Jacksonville. He did not do it. Item number one. Number two, I will always be indebted to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'll tell you why. They have a Hall of Famer. He didn't play on the field, but boy, he was a big part of that organization from the minute they went into business. His name is Dan Edwards. So very, very close to mine. Dan and I were actually texting a little bit earlier in the week, and we obviously are as close as you can get. So he's a Hall of Famer, and actually Dan Edwards is in the Hall of Fame over in Canton, Ohio, as one of the best PR guys in there. So when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars per se, and you're right, Candy, this is a one-team sports town. So they live and die by everything that they do. There's no question about it. Shad Khan's done a great job with those games in London to make them profitable. And there's going to be a lot more updates that we'll talk about with the Jaguars later. But this is just unbelievable. I just love Dan. We're really close friends. And the reason why I'm mentioning Dan on this show is because he gave me an opportunity to extend my NFL career covering the NFL. And I didn't mind driving 5 hours north to go to Jacksonville to do it because I was treated about as well as anybody could be treated. He gave me whatever access I needed. And I also allowed me to cover the NFL draft up there in a way that I've never covered it before. It was just surreal. So, Dan, if you're watching this show, God bless you. I love you, my man. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are fine. And I'm glad I brought Liam Cohen, who's gotten it figured out. But I felt it was necessary to bring those stats to the forefront because they've been up and down. Now it's time to see this organization be on that steady sustainability part. And as long as they're able to do that, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't continue to do well going on. So with that said, I'm going to go over some of our partners, Scott, okay, that we have at the moment. And I will go over them myself. We got the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And we have Sacramento Kings and we have Brooklyn Nets, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we've added the Miami Marlins and we've also added the Florida State Seminoles, correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
And we're hoping to add another one. I won't divulge that information until it becomes official. But so with that said, I'm going to segue over into one of our next partners, and that's the Florida State Seminoles. They spent over $200 million in renovations for Doak Campbell Stadium. And there may have been a few drawbacks, but it is a first-class facility. But there was no money spent on Wi-Fi, which nowadays you kind of have to have cellular upgrades. The new sideline club is modern and swanky. The concourse is wider and less crowded. They installed a self-serve concessions. Can you imagine self-serve concessions at a game? Well, imagine them there. There's new chairbacks and breathable and comfortable capacity was reduced by 12,000 plus seats. So do you like the changes? I read this when Miami traveled to FSU, and I'm going to tell you one thing. We enjoyed our time up at Florida State, and I'm going to put another shout out to Steve McCartney. Steve McCartney is the guy who put me on the football mailing list when we were over at Hard Rock Stadium, and I have a really good working relationship with Steve. Scott will find that out soon enough. Another name worth dropping out there is Jim Henry, one of my former colleagues over at the Tampa Tribune. So let's talk to you, Marvin, about some of the upgrades that I've had. If I went too fast, I'll go over them again.
No, listen, I heard everything you said. Everything sounds good except for that self-serve, man. I'm a germ freak. I'm a hand washer. I'm convinced most people are not. And that kind of discourages me from that. But hey, I'm a FSU guy growing up as a young quarterback at Woodland Middle School in East Middle, New York. I used to watch the Florida State Seminoles. I loved Charlie Ward. I thought he was an amazing player. And, because of him and what Coach Bowden meant to college football, I was a fan. I've been to the stadium as a player. We played when I was at USC. We played against Florida State in '98. We lost that game, but they have a proud tradition started by Bobby Bowden. He made them relevant really fast. And it's a great football environment. They love football up there. Those fans deserve to have a first-class venue. And all they need now is a team who can win some games because it sucks to spend $200 million in your stadium and your team can't win more than 3 or 4 games. So, yeah, great renovations. It's a sign of the times. You got to compete for these recruits. You want to sell season tickets. You want to give people a great football experience, a great game day experience, and it sounds like they're doing their part to make that happen.
You take away 12,000 seats, obviously, and they're trying to make it more intimate, Scott. That, to me, obviously, I think Florida State will win. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If this NIL thing and transfer portal turns everybody upside down, and it takes a couple of years for everybody to finally get the feel for it. But, Scott, what are your thoughts? Let's just talk about the renovations, okay? And that's a standalone topic, okay, Scott? What are your thoughts about what I've mentioned so far?
I think the renovations are beautiful. I know I went to Florida State in the 85 and 86 before I transferred to Miami. And it was a wonderful facility back in the day, but it's gotten older. And Florida State fans love their Seminole program. They are diehards. Talk about a one-horse town. That's about all there is to do in Tallahassee other than state government. And stores and businesses close when the Seminoles play. And I think they are entitled to have a super stadium with major renovations. They deserve it. They're good people. I've never met a Seminole fan that I didn't like. And they're just, Tallahassee's a great town, and I'm glad they're getting what they deserve.
Mel?
The renovations are great. I like the self-service. I had the self-service at Mercedes-Benz. You go down there and get all the drinks that you want. You just keep your cup and you keep going down there and refilling. I couldn't believe it when I went down there. But renovations are nice. Obviously, it's nice for the fans. It makes it a nice environment for the fans to go watch a football game. I'm not really one that really likes to be around people like that in crowds. So when you do make it a little comfortable with the wider concourses, I remember going to the Pontiac Silverdome when it was real tight and you used to be able to smoke inside the dome, and you'd see that little cloud hovering above the top of the dome where all the smoke would kind of collect from people smoking in the dome. So, having having a nice facility is good for the fan experience. The Wi-Fi, all that, anything that you can do to make it more comfortable for the fan, just where it doesn't just seem like you're just trying to grab their money, I think is a good thing.
All right, Candy, we were both there. Obviously, the only thing I struggled with was the fact that the parking was way on the other side of campus. Other than that, when you get to the stadium, it's pretty historical. And yes, Bobby Bowden and all the different things you have going on there. It's just unbelievable stuff. Good morning, D, out on X. Zesty Bartholomew is in here as well. Appreciate everybody being out there. So, again, it was a little bit of a challenge to get across. But when we got in, it was unbelievable. And you could felt how compassionate the Seminoles fans are towards the team. And I look forward to getting back there at some point down the road. Go ahead, Candy.
Doak Campbell Stadium was originally built in 1950. It had an original seating capacity of 15,000, and it was built at the cost of $250,000. So now and then in 1954 it grew to 19,000. They added 6,000 more seats in 61, and then they kept expanding. But it's kind of cool to see now that they're hovering around this and brought it back down to the 62,000. If you've never been to a game there, it's one of those must stadium that you must go to, and it's one that has a built-in tradition, because if you haven't seen them come out on the horse and throw down the arrow, that it's just a cool tradition. It's a very intimate, it's a very loud stadium too, and you wouldn't expect that, being that it's open as much as it is. But those fans are crazy. But yet it's a crazy cool. It was an exciting experience. I was down on the field taking pictures to see the excitement and to see all the fans and how loud it is. It was a really neat experience, and I would say it should be a bucket list for most people. All the brick work, all the brick buildings, they're old brick buildings on that campus. Beautiful. Must see.
Yeah, I loved it there. Looking forward to going back. All right. Let's talk about the Auburn Tigers. Why are we talking about them? Because they declined a bowl bid after hiring head coach Alex Golesh. Marvin, was that a mistake that they declined a bowl bid?
I think the bowl game is an opportunity for a team to have their young guys get some practice reps. It's really like an
Right.
additional spring practice. You get 15 practices. You have a lot of guys, on your team who don't get reps during the regular season. And bowl week, or at least that bowl prep, is this outstanding prep work, and you see guys really develop. So from that standpoint, just considering that, you got a lot of raw kids coming out of high school who are playing on the scout team the whole year and just don't get a chance to run with the ones, it gives a player a chance to really grow and develop. So from that standpoint, yeah. Additionally, these teams are getting paid to go to these bowl games. They need all the money they can get for renovations, for NIL, and everything else. Plus, it's a great experience for the player. It's a reward. At the end of the day, you want to play for the championship. That's what you want. That's the standard. But you got to find a way to find wins. You know what I mean? And just try to win for the program, a feel-good moment. So it's an extra game to try to get an extra win. Get that win, go into the offseason feeling great. You got young guys who get some reps, and that helps them going into the offseason. From that standpoint, I think it was a mistake. And I would think that these coaches want to get their guys as much opportunities as possible.
Scott.
I think it's always a mistake to turn down a bowl game. A bowl game is something that the players earn.
Right.
They fight for it all season. That's what they sweat and break bones for, so they can make it to a bowl game. The alumni love to travel to the bowl game destination. You're taking it away from them. I think it was a terrible move. You also need the additional practices to see the young kids, just like Marvin said. You have, I think, 15 practices that you're allowed to have, and that's where you use it as an extended spring practice. You have the recruits come out. It's just a wonderful time. It's a reward for a whole season that you have to endure. And I think what Auburn did was terrible, and they followed Notre Dame's lead.
Great stuff. And by the way, Scott, we are going to be talking about Notre Dame. If not on next Saturday's show, it'll probably be on Tuesday night. Not sure, but Notre Dame we're going to definitely discuss. I'm glad you kind of threw that out, though, Scott, as a teaser as well. All right, Mel, some thoughts. Did Auburn get it wrong?
Yeah, I've always said that missing a bowl game is a missed opportunity. Some of my fondest memories were preparing for bowl games. You're on campus all by yourself. All the students are gone. There's a lot of things that we did during that bowl that bowl preparation that we probably shouldn't have done. But I've introduced some guys to some activities that they never thought they would have done. Growing up in Southern California, me and my brother, we grew up in Michigan, and what we did in the wintertime is we used to ski. So I had my mom and dad send our skis out there, and I took some guys from Southern California who'd never seen snow before and took them up to the mountains and took them skiing. That's, some of the things you can do. But the camaraderie that you're able to build, obviously, I've talked about it before. The additional practice, the time that you get for the young people, bless you. I think that's invaluable. As many reps as you can get young people so that you can have, as a head coach, you can have confidence in what you have coming back the next year. We didn't have the transfer portal like they have right now, so you had to develop these young men. And so that was an opportunity for you to develop young men. Now they're not really developing guys. They're just kind of they're being developed at a different level, maybe at a lower level, or maybe at some other school, and you're just bringing them in and you're trying to plug and play. But I think for kids, especially for some seniors, this might be their last opportunity to play a game of football. They may not be getting drafted, and it's another opportunity for them to, spend some time with their teammates in the locker room. That's one of the things that you miss when you walk away from the game. And they may not, they'll probably never have another opportunity to play a game. So it's one last opportunity to play football for the university and represent that university. So I think it's a huge mistake when you do that. And, forget about all the gear and stuff that you get. It's just the time that you're able to spend with the guys, one last opportunity, and then obviously being able to develop some of the young kids as well.
Candy?
I think it's a huge miss. I think not only what does it really say that you're turning it down? Here you have this opportunity to play in a bowl game that can have different exposure, because let's face it, a lot of them are on TV. You make different appearances. You have different scouts can come to these games where they might not have been able to come and see you during the regular season. So you have an opportunity as a player to really perform, to showcase your abilities. The other thing is like for the fans, like you said, maybe I'm not going to give as much money because you think you're too big that you don't need the bowl game. Or I mean, I understood back in the day when you don't have enough players because all of a sudden the transfer portal, you have injuries, maybe you have to turn it down for that. But just to turn it down because you got your feelings hurt or you switch coaches, that I don't understand, because it's a chance for you to showcase your school spirit, to get more money into your program. I mean, Auburn, they have made 44 postseason bowl appearances, including 12 historically major bowl berths. And with over 800 wins, Auburn is the 13th winningest FBS program. So, yeah, I think it was a major miss for them.
All right, here's what everybody makes excellent points, but I'm going to tell you what I think of this whole thing. Number one, you hired Alex Golish, right? Doesn't he deserve an opportunity to see his players, or at least some of them, what he can do in live action? And I'll tell you why. Because Michigan Wolverines hire Kyle Whittingham from the University of Utah, right? And then he obviously says goodbye to his team on that Friday or whatever it was in advance. And then he comes to Orlando for the Cheez-It Bowl, and then he has the chance to talk to his players and see them in live action. And that's where I think.
What was Auburn's record?
Pardon me?
What was Auburn's record?
I don't know off the top of my hand, but Candy will find it. But here's the thing. You have a new coach. I think he should have an opportunity at least to see at least all these players and make a decision whether he thinks they fit in the program or not anyways, and get an idea to at least try to retain them. That's where they missed out. So when a new coach doesn't have live game film when he's there and he's taking it ahead of time, you're just taking a potential evaluation resource is what you're doing. And that's where I think Auburn missed, in addition to what everybody else on this panel has said. Candy, you have that record.
5-7, going 1-7 in the SEC.
Okay,
Now,
so
there was 2 5-7 teams I was on TV yesterday. I'm like,
all right, but
what's
here,
he doing?
okay, well, we're talking 5-7, but here's the thing that people should understand. What about it tells you something about your academic progress rate as well. So that speaks volumes about academics. I asked this question at FAU when they had a chance. We're looking to try to get in with a 5-7. I don't care if Auburn's 5-7 or not. Big deal. It doesn't matter. You should at least reward the students that for no other reason their academics to play and give them an opportunity to get more film on tape as well. You follow me? So because you don't know if some of these are going to be in the Senior Bowl, United Football League, and all these other different leagues as well. That's another reason why you cost your players. So bad move by Auburn all the way around. All right, our final topic for Scott, at least, and it's our featured topic of the night. We'll talk about the Miami Hurricanes. Let's talk about the rebuild. Mario Cristobal, since taking over the Miami Hurricanes head coaching job in 2022. Actually, that was the first year I started covering him again. They missed a bowl game at 5-7. 2023, they are 7-6. They managed to reach a bowl game. A little bit of progression there. 2024, guess what? 10-3. Let's graduate some more, right, Scotty? After all, we've been covering this team the last few years together. And if that isn't good enough, what about 2025? 11-2, reach a college football playoff, won the college football playoff game, and now that record's been up to 12-2 with their recent win over Ohio State. Okay, Scott, what are your thoughts about the progression in the rebuild and how well it's going for the Miami Hurricanes?
Well, the Miami Hurricanes had a spectacular season. They had a couple of glitches at SMU and at home against Louisville, but you could really see how that team matured. And they have a lot of young kids like Malachi Tony who just stepped up. They have serious freshmen who came in and were able to contribute. Mario is a master recruiter. He was once considered the best recruiter who couldn't coach, but I think he showed everyone this year that he can coach them as well. They go out in the transfer portal and they grab Carson Beck, who isn't lighting it up the way he did in Georgia, but he's an efficient game manager, which is what Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson need to run that offense. Defensively, you got Akeem Mesidor, and Reuben Bain Jr. You're not going to find two better rush ends in the country. I think they're gonna surprise Ole Miss. I think they got something coming to them, and I think they're gonna win the national championship. I think they can go all the way.
Mel?
Well, the U is back. It looks like the U is back. Looks like USC made a mistake when they hired Lincoln Riley. Probably should have went after Mario Cristobal. Probably would have played a little bit more physical style of football. The U, they're a very physical football team. They take on the attitude of their coach. I don't think whoever comes out of that side of the bracket is going to win it. I think Indiana is tough. I think Indiana will probably win, but I do believe that Miami. Who does Miami play? I forgot. Who do they play?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't think Ole Miss can. I think they'll definitely get to the national championship game. And I think it'll be a good national championship game. I think it'll be good for the U. It's good for college football that University of Miami is relevant. Because when I grew up, the University of Miami was relevant. They played good football, and it's exciting to see. What Mario Cristobal has done. I mean, I thought he was kind of crazy to leave Oregon with all the money and resources that he had there, but obviously he wanted to go back home, and it's paid off well for him. And they're spending money. They're getting players. I mean, they brought Carson Beck there. He's not necessarily the reason why they are where they are. I think they have a very strong running game. They play very, very physical. They beat you up offensively and defensively. They win the line of scrimmage. And then he's able to capitalize and make some big plays when necessary, make some throws when necessary, make 3 or 4 throws when necessary.
All right, we'll turn it over to Marvin.
Listen, I think there are a lot of teams out there, probably including USC, Mel, that wish they hired a Mario Cristobal. Listen, when your head coach is the offensive lineman and Mario was an O lineman when the U was the U, you know what I'm saying? When your head coach is the O lineman, he has a different perspective, man. And he understands toughness. He understands grit. He understands what it is to go in there and kick somebody's butt. And he's teaching that, man. And that's really the biggest difference in this program is the physicality, the O-line play. The O-line has gotten better this year. They play better throughout the year. And that's coming from him, man. Leadership matters. This guy has tremendous experience. Obviously, he was a head coach at Oregon, working under Nick Saban. I mean, listen, all the guys right now who are coaching in the playoffs are under Nick Saban. So that says a lot, right? He got a master class in how to win and a master class in how to coach and how to teach and how to lead. And he's implementing that at the U. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the U is absolutely back. They're in a Final Four. I think there's still a gauntlet out there. I think it's a tough situation. I think Ole Miss is hungry. I think they're probably going to beat Ole Miss just because of all the dysfunction that they're dealing with at Ole Miss. But Cristobal is the man. The U is back. They're recruiting at a high level. They got all the Hall of Famers on the sideline. He hired a great coaching staff, in my opinion, led by Jason Taylor, whose position, the defensive ends, are playing outstanding. And he knows how to put a program together. He's obviously getting the support that he needs. And right now we're watching vintage Miami here in 2026.
Candy? And by the way, Candy, before you go ahead and answer the question by the Fishing Boys, and then you can go ahead and proceed with your thoughts.
The championship game has not been yet determined. Miami plays Ole Miss and Indiana plays Oregon. The winner of those two games play each other in the national championship, which will be played at Hard Rock Stadium down here in Miami on January 19th, I believe it is. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the day.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Candy, you can proceed. Thank you.
As of 2024, 11 Miami Hurricanes have been inducted into the NFL's Pro Football Hall of Fame. Most of those players you see, or I should say a handful of those players you see on the field. And some of them you see on a consistent basis. Why does that matter? Because when you're recruiting, what do you want to see? You want to see people that have played for your team that had really good success helping and supporting the team. And I think that really matters in this NIL, as well as obviously the money that comes with it. But that matters. Whatever recruiting techniques you can use, that matters. Mario is a really good recruiter. Let's face it. I mean, to get Carson Beck from Georgia when he had won national championships there, to get him to come over to the U, to coach for a team you played for means you've got a lot of heart as well. And that matters. And recruits see that as well. He preaches violence on the field. Marvin, you've talked about it before, that your body is not made for, football, but yet that matters. Talking about that, being physical on that field, dominating physicality wise, that matters. And it showed up in the games that they have played. Yes, did they have a couple of hiccups this year? They absolutely did. But everybody has, good days and bad days. And so they had a couple of hiccups. But it's cool to see, as your point about Jason Taylor. I love, one of the things I get to do is I get to see firsthand, because I'm on the field taking pictures, but I get to do pregame and I get to see Jason working with these kids and the relationships he has with these kids. That matters. And I'm excited for where Miami is right now and where they can possibly take this year.
Candy, I don't doubt that Mario did a great job, trying to recruit the quarterback back. Probably the bigger factor was that $6 million check that he wrote. You know what I'm saying? But but I'm not taking anything from Mario Cristobal. I'm sure he had a lot of good words to say to Carson Beck as to why he should go to UM.
Well, I think the bigger thing was that he was dating Haley Cavender at the time.
I was waiting for you, Scott, to slide that one in. Here's the thing. I had an opportunity, Candy recorded, to talk to Jason Taylor for a couple minutes, and I knew right then and there, this guy is a Hall of Famer in more ways than one. Keep in mind, let's talk about Cam Ward. You got him to come over there as well. But here's the one thing that nobody's mentioned about Cristobal. Before I started covering the U again full time, I was covering FAU, and then where do you think Mario was coaching? FIU. Okay, so what do we have there? I saw one of the greatest games ever at Hard Rock Stadium. That even Candy, I'll tell you, Katrina McCormick said I was the one that got FAU into the Motor City Bowl at the time, because that was like a 51-50 game. I was on the field, and who was the star receiver that Mario Cristobal recruited? Oh, ever heard of T.Y. Hilton? Guess what? He was pretty good. T.Y. Hilton, FIU, the Panthers, people. This guy could recruit, and he did a pretty decent job with FIU, even getting them to a bowl game when they've been dormant for a lot of years. Guy, you've been around these parts a long time. FIU really has been relevant for a while until Cristobal got there, wasn't he?
FIU was irrelevant. I mean, they brought the program back under Don Strock, and then Mario took over. And he made that program something. He took him to a bowl game.
Thank you. Great minds think alike, Scott. I know that when I quiz you on it 9 million times over, you'll have cauliflower ears besides that. All right, now, Scott, you got to get going. One last shout out to Roundtable. Put it out there, my friend.
Roundtable.io. And if you want to hear about the Bucks and the Jags this weekend in the NFL, go to jagsroundtable.com. Go to bucksroundtable.com, and you'll be able to read about your favorite teams.
And I'll add to that, too, because over the weekend we're going to have our fifth quarter show. I'll obviously be hosting it. So we have the Buccaneers Roundtable, which will actually be tonight. And, of course, we'll have the Jaguars as well around. Scott, thank you very much for coming on this morning. Much appreciated. And I will look forward to talking to you later this afternoon as you and I continue to map out our plans about what's in store for our end of the equation here with Roundtable. Glad to have you on, Scotty. Get a little bit of rest, do what you got to do, because I guarantee when I get done with you later, you'll have more cauliflower ears like you have anyways. No big deal.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you, buddy. You're welcome. So now there are just about four of us, and now there are four of us. Let's continue the narrative here. Has everybody having a good time so far? Off to a really fine start. So how can I go ahead and give Marvin and Mel their opportunity to go at each other. Give me a minute while I get to take care of some other business. First of all, Darius Slay obviously is contemplating retirement. He informed the Bills he is contemplating retirement, and he never reported to Buffalo. I know he hasn't changed his mind, Mel. Do you think he should have changed his mind? Because I know Buffalo could certainly use him.
You said who's considering retirement?
Darius Slay.
Oh, yeah, he got what? He got picked up by him, right? And then
Right.
He decided not to report. I
Mhm.
mean, I can't make that decision for him. That's a decision that only he can make. He knows the condition of his body. Sometimes the mind goes before the body, and as athletes, if you aren't there mentally, it's very, very difficult for you to go out there and do what you need to do. Put your body through what you need to put it through in order to go out there and play. So I can't speak for him. Only he knows what's going on in his life at this particular time. And he may have been hanging on. He may have been thinking about this a few years ago, and he just continued to play for whatever reason. But now, obviously, maybe it's just gotten to a point where other things have taken a priority for him. Football is no longer that priority, and he just feels it's time for him to take a step back.
Marvin?
Yeah, this guy's a veteran. He's been in the league a while. He is a good DB. Buffalo's making a playoff run. I mean, they're going to make a playoff run. They're going to do something with that MVP caliber quarterback they have. You would think he'd want to be a part of that, but this guy's been in the league. He's made his money. He's made a name for himself. And like Mel was saying, you don't know what's going on in this guy's head. This guy may be banged up. These guys see other guys, dealing with CTE and everything that happens, post-football career. And these guys today are just making different decisions, making better decisions, just making more thoughtful decisions. So you don't know, what's happening with him. I would think that if he could play, if he was okay physically, and everything was okay with his family, that he'd at least want to try to make a playoff run. I think he's a champion. I think he won a ring with Philly, if I'm not mistaken. So that maybe that completes him. I don't know, but yeah, at the end of the day, man, you play this game for the money. You play it for the love of the game. You play it for the trophies, and he has all that already intact. So the reality is, from his perspective, Buffalo might not have anything to offer him, considering just where he's been and what he's done. But a player of that caliber could absolutely impact the Bills if he's healthy. So I know they're doing their part to try to get him back there. And listen, this may be a play for more money. I don't know. I'm not mad at him for that if that's the case. But again, you don't know what the many reasons are that he might not want to play football again.
Candy?
On February 9th, 2025, he started in the Super Bowl. He was limited to 2 solo tackles as they defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. He earned his first Super Bowl title and Super Bowl ring. On March 12th, the Eagles officially released him after 5 seasons. On March 13th, the Steelers signed Slay to a 1-year, $10 million contract that included an initial signing bonus of $8.74 million. He appeared in 9 games with the Steelers, recorded 3 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, and 36 combined tackles. On December 2nd, they decided to mutually agree to part ways. On December 3rd, Slay was claimed off waivers by the Buffalo Bills. But one day after being claimed, he notified the Bills that he's considering retirement and would not report to the team. He's played in the league for, I believe it was 13 years, I think it was. He's 35 years old, born in Georgia. He started with the Lions, he's played with the Eagles, and now the Steelers. So he has 655 total tackles. He's a Super Bowl champion, 6-time Pro Bowl. Do we know all the reasons why? No. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if it's health, if it's family. We interviewed him and we talked to him at the Super Bowl. He has brought such an excitement. In fact, anybody that wants to go back to South Florida Tribune's YouTube channel, we have that interview that we had with him up on our YouTube channel. So go check it out if you're interested at all. But he was just an exciting even though he's not as young as some of the players, he brought an excitement and an energy, even in his interview, that I thought was really refreshing and unique. I hope everything's okay with him, and he makes the best decision for him.
So here's where I'm going to pick up where you're at, Candy. When I spoke to him, when I mentioned a possible reunion with the Detroit Lions, if that smile wasn't worth 1,000 words in the response, I don't know what was. I think he would have loved to have gone to the Lions, and I think he would have loved to have played for Dan Campbell. Unfortunately, it just never worked out. All right, let's continue on. We'll stay with the Philadelphia theme a little bit because looking back, Jalen Hurts is the first player to commit 2 turnovers in one play since 1978. Mel, how does that happen?
Sometimes things happen. I don't remember exactly what happened. He fumbled the ball and then fumbled again or threw an interception. I can't remember exactly what happened, but hey, sometimes things happen. Crazy things happen. Crazy things happen. The ball bounces funny. I mean, it's an oblong ball, and sometimes it takes funny bounces, and sometimes crazy things can happen with that ball.
Marvin?
Yeah, that was a crazy play. I saw the play live. I forgot the actual sequence of events and how it went down. But when I saw it, I thought to myself, that you don't see that every day. You know what I mean? And I've seen watched a lot of football. With that said, Jalen Hurts is it's tough to say this, man. He's definitely one of the better players in this league. That he can run it, he can spin it pretty good. He's been good everywhere he's been. But yeah, 2 turnovers on one play is something that you're not going to see again, unless of course it's UCLA and their offense, their horrible offense, which led to 3 wins, which has them at the bottom of the Big Ten. Embarrassment for our conference. But yeah, Jalen Hurts.
How many times did you beat UCLA?
We're talking about
you beat UCLA.
Mel, you live in the past. You live in the past.
I'm just asking you, how many times did you taste that sweet taste of victory? How many times did you taste it?
Unfortunately, Mel, as a blocking fullback, my memory isn't what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I can't speak on that.
Your memory is called selective.
Yeah, maybe. It is what it is.
How many bowl games did you go to?
We won the Rose Bowl. How about you?
What? You won the Rose Bowl.
We won the Rose Bowl. We won the Rose Bowl. We won the Rose Bowl. We won the Rose Bowl. How about you?
I won the Rose Bowl too my sophomore year.
Okay.
I started in the Rose Bowl.
I didn't.
Okay. You just had a jersey on, right?
I got a kickoff return.
Oh, you did get the suit up?
Yeah, I got a kickoff return.
The only thing I can say is, now, how many years did John Robinson coach you?
3.
I like him.
Yeah, I love Coach Rob.
I owe a lot to him. Coach Rob was a great guy. I owe a lot to Coach Rob, man.
Yeah, he coached me and my dad at USC.
Yeah, Coach Rob he's a good, genuine dude. I love Coach Rob. Even though he cut me my second year, I still love him.
I hear you, man.
So let him finish. Okay, so how is that possible, Marvin? How do you go ahead and do exactly what Hurts did?
He wanted to bring some UCLA stuff in there.
Don't worry, I got it in here. Don't worry.
No, when you talk about just horrific offense and horrific offensive plays, UCLA had a lot of them this year. I'm just saying. So when you talk about that, that's the first thing I thought about, to be honest with you. But it's all good though. Hey, listen, that game that Jalen had those 2 fumbles on one play. Did they win that game? I think they still win that game. I don't know, but anyway.
All right, well, don't worry. I hereby declare Mel Farr Jr. is the executive producer of the show.
Nah.
Oh, am I?
Nah. Scott, he went to UCLA. They don't. Their education. They don't.
That's all right. All right, we'll just keep it rolling. I love messing with Mel. After all, he's probably going to find me a way to take me back to the big chicken out there, and he'll find a way to take a drumstick and bash it over my head. So I have another.
You got to go somewhere else other than the big chicken.
All right. Well, I'm sure you guys, since you're both in here, you'll find us. Listen, you guys both there. You just go ahead and show us where to go. All right, Candy. Let's make some sense out of these 2 fumbles.
This is one of the wilder turnovers of this season or any season. Jalen Hurts arguably had one of the worst games of his career. With Philadelphia threatening to score its first touchdown on a Monday night in the second quarter against the Chargers, the Eagles faced 3rd and 2 at the Los Angeles 21. Hurts forced a pass to A.J. Brown on a slant as Brown was surrounded by 3 defenders. Deshaun Hand was positioned perfectly for the interception and picked the ball off just beyond the line of gain. Hand, being a defensive lineman, is not too familiar with handling the ball, and it showed. As he returned the ball, running back Will Shipley punched it out from behind, sending it hurtling back in Hurts' direction. Hurts was able to corral the ball, but just for a moment, almost as soon as Hurts gained control, 350-pound defensive tackle Jamar Caldwell was on top of him, and Caldwell successfully dislodged the ball. Chargers linebacker Troy Dye got to it first from there and made the wise decision considering all he had just witnessed. Dye jumped on the ball and secured it on the turf with no effort for a return. The end result of the play saw the Chargers taking over the position. If you're counting, that's an interception thrown by Hurts to Hand, a lost fumble by Hand, a fumble recovered by Hurts, a lost fumble by Hurts, and a fumble recovered by Dye. And yes, that's two turnovers on one play for Philadelphia's quarterback.
Well, very infamous play. Jalen Hurts got a Super Bowl ring, but also had a play that or two not worth writing home about. All right, well, we're going to go to somewhat of an LA theme. Then we're going to start talking about the Trojans and the Bruins. And that's it. The LA Rams practiced at Camden Yards for a week after facing the Ravens to prepare for the Jacksonville Jaguars. How'd that turn out for the Rams? Oh, they only beat Jacksonville 35-7. All right, Mel, some thoughts about what it took to be partially not jet lag, knowing that the Rams took advantage of that opportunity in Baltimore and the Jacksonville Jaguars were on the wrong end of a 35-7 beating.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know, they travel a lot better than what we used to travel. It makes sense, you know, because you know why would you go from one coast to another and then back? I mean, I remember my year we played Philadelphia. I think the last game of the season. No, we played New England the last game of the season. Then went back home. Then we went back to Philadelphia for a wild card game. Went back home. Then went back to New York to play the Giants. We won all those games. So I mean, I can't. You know, I don't. You know, I don't know. You're away from your family. You're in different surroundings. I mean, there's pros and cons both ways because you know you're unfamiliar surroundings. You're not at home. You're not sleeping in your own bed. You're sleeping in a different type of bed. They may not be the most comfortable for you. So I mean, I guess there's pros and cons for it. Obviously, you know, this was a pro for the Rams because they went out there and handled Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's a good football team. But I mean, you know, I think there's pros and cons to it. To be honest with you.
Okay, turn over to Marvin.
You know, listen, I know there's a lot that goes into. A lot of people are talking about when teams have to fly east and fly cross country, and you have your analytics. I listen. I buy into some of that. I think that's overblown. I do. I mean, people made a big deal about even USC having to travel to the Midwest and travel to the East Coast, and they get into all these other teams. Listen, in the pros, man, you're getting paid for this. You've been doing this for years. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I think Mel may disagree as a former player. I think that's overhyped. I do. To be honest with you, I used to love away games. I thought it was always exciting. And when I was in New Orleans and when I was at USC, I loved playing on the road. I love the venues. I love the travel. I love the idea of the team plane, the team bus, the team hotel, hanging out in the city. I loved all that stuff. I embraced all that stuff. Whenever we traveled, I mean, whenever we traveled anywhere, me and my boys would always find time to go out and do something in that city. We'd go to the mall, go get something to eat, something small like that, right? So I don't know if that whole travel thing is what it says. A lot of people would disagree. Again, I know they have analytics now, and we've discussed that before. But man, Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, these dudes is the best of the best. You know what I mean? And whether it's midnight or noon, they come to get you. All right. So I just saw the Rams come to Atlanta and get spanked by the Falcons. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there's a lot of merit to that, Scott. I'll be honest with you. I think that's overblown.
Okay.
I do. Mel, what do you mean? I think it's overblown. I do. I don't buy into that.
I do too. I mean, like I said, we we did it 3 times and we won each one of those games. So I mean, I'm like you. I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed the travel. I enjoyed playing in the different venues. You know, I'm excited about playing in
100%.
another venue. You know, even when we played across the pond, we played over in Germany, we played in Japan. I mean, you get an opportunity to see something different. I always enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, as a player, you know what time it is. You know you got to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think I haven't heard any players come out and say that traveling to the East or traveling here was a problem. That's media driven, in my opinion. Now, you can get some doctors to come in here and talk about the body and biology and all that stuff, but come on, man. You
Hey, Marvin,
and you're sitting down. I mean, it's not like it's not like you ran across. It's not like you running across country. You're on a plane. You're sitting down.
now, if you pulling a Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, and you went to casino till 5 in the morning, and you got a game in 7 hours, that's a different situation. I wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? But to say that the team wasn't ready or couldn't play their body, their clocks, and all that stuff, that's just an excuse to me.
all right, so Marvin,
a guy like me on the back end of the roster, I was looking forward to that little per diem you get when you walk into the plane.
Hello.
Hey, Marvin, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Sure. What industry are you in right now?
Media, baby. South Florida.
Guess what? This is media driven. You're one of us.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive in this truck.
And I'm trying
35-7. That's a good 3-digit number if you're looking for pick a number to win the lottery with, Marvin. Say what you want.
I would never
Let me
challenge you.
finish now. Hold on, Marvin. Okay, this is media driven. I wrote a book about the media. You're about to be in the next book about the media. This is media driven. Yes, seriously, really, whatever. Who cares? It's Saturday morning, everybody. Glad you're tuning in and watching me go off on my
Point
athlete
taken.
here.
Point taken.
Yeah, no, it isn't done yet. No, you talk about media driven. 35-7. They only had to go halfway across the world here. It wasn't big if you had to go from LA all the way to London. Doesn't matter if the Jaguars got their butt smoked. They played in London 9 million more times than the Rams did. And the Rams were trying to do something to get a little ahead of this thing. So they landed in Baltimore. And you know what they ended up doing? They had an awful lot of crabs, and then they ate Jaguars when they got overseas at Wembley Stadium. So there you go. Point well driven. Remember, Marvin, okay, you're in the media. Okay. Right. You're looking to have a career in the media. So you know what this topic, if you say it's media driven, it is media driven because we're driving it, man.
But it's not just you, Scott. I mean, you see it on ESPN, Fox. I mean, you see it on all the channels. Everyone's talking about that. You know what I'm saying? It's just I watch.
It's called a trending topic.
I hear you.
Oh, I have some work to do with you. I had some work to do. All right, Candy, trying to make some sense out of all this. I don't know. I'm really losing it.
I don't know. You kind of stole some of my thunder there, Scott, but that's okay. So yeah, the Rams practiced at Oriole Park. They used the baseball stadium as a temporary facility to prepare for the game in London because they were already there because they had played the Ravens. So they got to stay. So you guys talk about traveling, and Marvin, you talked about being in a city and embracing that city. That gave them more time in Baltimore to embrace Baltimore. And let's face it, it created a unique environment in the historic ballpark, a first for a non-baseball sporting event there. The other thing it did, it was a win-win because it marked the first time Camden Yards hosted a non-baseball sporting practice since opening in '92. But as part of the Rams had a deal with the Orioles to use the park for the facilities for just the week. As part of the agreement, the Rams would help with resodding the field after their use. So Baltimore, the Orioles, obviously, they had historic different they got the practice football in there, a different venue. They got resodding of the field. Then the Rams only had to fly to London. They didn't have to fly from LA, which is and yes, that's a long flight, but they also then got to spend time in Baltimore and embrace that city and learn more about the city and explore. You talk about how exploring the city, different cities is kind of cool. This gave them a little bit more time to do so besides practice.
Yeah. When you say embrace Baltimore, you ever seen The Wire? You ever seen The Wire, Candy? I don't watch The Wire. You look at Baltimore a lot differently. I don't know if that's a city you want to really, no offense to anybody watching for Baltimore. Please continue to tune in.
All right, so let's go ahead, and the natives are getting restless about their two schools. So, all right, we're going to talk about UCLA quarterback Luke Duncan plans to enter the transfer portal. He went 16 for 2,354 yards with one touchdown against Ohio State. What are your thoughts about Luke Duncan, Mel, entering the transfer portal?
I had no thoughts about it. Luke Duncan, I don't recall seeing him play, to be honest with you. But there's another kid that transferred out of UCLA too. I can't think of another quarterback that's transferring. I mean, these guys are looking for opportunities to play, and I don't blame them because Nico's obviously cemented there as the starter. So with the transfer portal, it gives guys an opportunity to find somewhere where they can fit in and they can get an opportunity to play. You lose depth at positions, at all positions, because of this. Because everybody goes to college because they want to play, and in some cases that it doesn't work out that way. But for UCLA, obviously, you're gonna have to recruit. You're gonna have to go back in the transfer portal. You're gonna have to build up that room. But for this kid here, it's an opportunity for him to go somewhere else and play. I mean, I don't recall seeing him play that much. I think maybe I did when Nico got hurt. Don't remember. Obviously,
Right.
I'm not remembering much about him, so I must not have been overly impressed with him. But
He played
it's a
against
good opportunity for
Ohio
him to go out.
State. Mel, he played again in the game against Ohio State.
Did they win?
Yeah, that game got away. That game got away from him kind of early, so I probably didn't watch that whole game. To be honest with you.
Well, here, I'll just say this much about this topic. Number one, if you're going to put up halfway decent numbers, at least do them against Ohio State to give these other schools something to look at. And that's all you had to do. And that's what this kid did. Halfway decent numbers. I already mentioned what they were.
I think he's a tall kid too, like 6'5", 6'6", or something like that. I think he's a tall kid.
Yeah. Listen, 16 of 23, $154, one touchdown against Ohio State. It wasn't bad. I mean, at least you have something in there against Ohio State. It wasn't like he went out there and faced an inferior opponent to get those numbers. He did it against the Ohio State University. So, yeah, I wish him well. All right, Marvin.
UCLA is a dumpster fire. This year, they were historically horrible. I mean, this is one of the worst programs in college football this year. Everybody there is running away from that school. You know what I'm saying? They can't fill the stadium. They can't pay the players. They can't win games. I mean, it's just who would want to be a part of that? You know what I mean? So I don't blame the kid looking for bigger and better, a better degree, a better football opportunity, to be able to go to play in a stadium where people actually show up. You don't have to cover half the stadium with tarp. That's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So
taking a stand you're still hitting us. I mean, you're just like hitting us. You're like punching us.
No, we're just talking facts. We're just talking facts. You asked the question.
These are low blows. They're unnecessary.
And Scott, let me go back to this. Mel and I had a bet on the UCLA football game. We bet Bagelicious, okay? The loser, Mel, would have to pay for breakfast at Bagelicious and had to sit there, see me eye to eye and deal with that. Mel just zelled me $20. He just zelled me $20 and told me to go get my own bagel. First of all, that doesn't cover my bagel and lox, okay? I get a bagel.
You said it was going to be $20. That's what you said.
I told you it was $25. You sent me $20.
Okay, I'll send you
No. Scott, I have a better idea. USC plays UCLA today in basketball. I want to go double or nothing on that $5, Mel. Okay?
Well, just let me know when they play, and then we'll go ahead and let you stick it.
At 8 o'clock.
All right, so wait, let me finish. Okay, so make sure you put
what is USC's record right now in basketball? You sure you want that bet?
That wasn't the question. Nobody asked that.
All right, so here, hold it. Let me intervene here. Okay, I want on next Saturday's show in the group text, we're going to make the basketball game a topic of this show, USC and UCLA on the hard court. And
is it the girls or the boys? Is the men's or women?
It's the women.
The women?
We're underdogs. We're playing the
you guys don't have Juju.
Well, I mean, come on. Just give me everything's created equal here. I want a men's score and I want a woman's score.
We've only lost to Texas. That's the only team we've lost to. The same team South Carolina lost to is Texas.
So far. It's early. Like I said, don't tell me how good your team is, Candy.
Well, those
Don't
girls-
tell me how good your team is early in the season. I don't want to hear that.
The girls
Right?
could probably
It's a long season.
be USC's boys basketball team.
Probably not, but nevertheless, Scott, I don't blame this kid for leaving the school. I mean, it was an embarrassment. His family had to come watch this. I mean, this ain't nothing to be proud of. So he'll probably upgrade and go to Boise State.
There you go. All right, Candy, let's see if you can make some sense out of these two guys doing a good job. Wait, I got a couple more for them to battle it out. That's what makes this show such a classic. I got Marvin and Mel hammering each other. Oh, worry, I make sure we keep it spicy here. Go ahead, Candy, trying to make some sense out of Mr. Duncan.
Luke Duncan was a 3-star recruit in the 2023 UCLA recruiting class, coming to the Bruins from Miramonte High School in the Bay Area. But they've said that Nico is going to be they haven't officially, but they're leaning towards Nico being their quarterback. I don't blame any other quarterback for going out in this era and trying to find a team that will start him, because that's what he wants. Let's face it, you want to be on the national stage, you want to be playing, you want to be the number 1 guy. You don't want to be the number 2 or 3 unless you're going to one of the really big programs. You want to be out there. You want to showcase your talents. You want to be able to show everybody what you can do, because you're ultimately their goal is to make it to the next level. And if you can't do that by sitting and being a backup at some of these schools.
Candy, you know something? If he wants to go to the
Matt
next
Leinart
level,
did it.
if he wants
No,
to
not
go to the
Matt
next
Leinart.
level,
Who did?
nobody has more NFL pros than USC. So I would recommend he goes there. The problem is we don't take 3 stars. You know what I'm saying? So for that, like I said, you should upgrade schools and go to Boise State if UCLA can't cut it. Scott, what's the next question?
You should probably consider taking some 3 stars.
Well, that's all right. Don't worry, Mel. You're staying on until the end since you'd like to continue to.
No, I gotta run, man. I gotta go to work.
Yeah, I know you got to go to work. Don't worry. I'll make sure it's academic here. I mean, that's okay. You see if you can stick it out another 15 minutes, because this is what you've been waiting all week for anyway, besides bashing him. All right, so here, Cal Poly has hired Tim Skipper as its new head coach. Skipper recently served as UCLA's interim coach, leading the team to big wins over Penn State, Michigan State, and Maryland. The school says his energy, experience, and leadership will be a big boost to the program. UCLA hired James Madison's Bob Chesney. UCLA's last 3 results ended up turning out to be 42-37 over Penn State. Michigan State, they blew them out 38-13, and Maryland 20-13. All right, Mel, if you have to go to work so much, give me rapid fire on this decision for Tim Skipper to land at Cal Poly.
I mean, I think it's great for him.
I think he deserves the opportunity, and maybe he can use it as a springboard to a bigger and better program. I think it's great for him. I see that Jerry Neuheisel is going to follow Chip Kelly out there at Northwestern. I think it's great for Jerry to try something different, see something different other than UCLA. See how life is outside of UCLA. I think it's a good opportunity for him. Heck, he might love it out there and realize, man, I can afford to live out here. Get himself a nice house and get out of an apartment. I mean, I don't know what his living situation was in LA, but you can just see how far the dollar stretches in other places versus, what he was dealing with there in Westwood. But I think it's great for Coach Skipper. I thought what he did, he galvanized the program when he came in there. Obviously, they had a tough loss against Northwestern. That was his first week on the job, but what he was able to do with the team against Penn State was unbelievable. And I think, it'll never be forgotten. Obviously, the Penn State folks weren't very happy with it, and it ended up costing the coach his job. So, I think what he did, proves that he can coach, and he should be given the opportunity. And I'm glad that somebody gave him that opportunity.
All right, we're going to go rapid fire the rest of the show, Mel. Rapid fire rest of the show so we can get everything in, okay?
Marvin, he likes to filibuster, so
all right, we'll filibuster, rapid fire, whatever, Marvin. Let's talk about Tim Skipper. Okay, no relation to the skipper on Gilligan's
Rapid fire. I didn't even know Cal Poly had a football team, so that's what you get for going to UCLA. That's your reward for being a coach at UCLA. Good luck, Tim Skipper.
Yeah, well, at least it gives
you're
an
not
opportunity.
really a West Coast guy.
That's why you didn't know Cal Poly had a football team.
Yeah.
Okay, Candy, pick it up. What do you think?
I think it's good for him. kudos to him. Hopefully he has success so he can help keep moving up the coaching ranks.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We'll continue rapid fire. Obviously, USC is going to be forced to leave the LA Coliseum for the 2028 Olympics because of the Olympic Games. 3 teams will be over at SoFi Stadium one season: the Rams, the Chargers, and of course USC. Some thoughts about that one, Mel?
UCLA will probably be there too.
Well, then you might have 4. Okay, is that your version of rapid fire?
That's
So
my
there'll be
version of
4?
rapid fire.
I gotta
Okay,
leave
go
room
ahead,
for
Marvin.
Marvin, the
Yeah.
filibuster.
Wrong perspective, Scott. We're not forced to do anything. We are allowing the Olympics to have our beautiful
Okay.
venue. Okay. And in exchange, we decided to go to the other facility. So there you go. Rapid fire.
All right, go ahead, Candy.
Hey, bringing the Olympics in is a revenue generating great thing. Way to showcase your stadium and everything like that. So kudos to them. And let's all enjoy. It just gives different venue, different ways you can enjoy your same team.
Well, I was at the 1984 Olympics. Looking forward to going to the 28. The
I was
20.
there too, Scott.
Huh?
I was there too.
Oh, were you at the 84 Olympics? It was pretty cool. I
That
never
was my
made it
freshman
to,
year at UCLA.
Oh, no kidding. Really? Wow, that's interesting. I never made it to the LA Coliseum, but I intend to get there this time. I was at Dodger Stadium, the Fabulous Forum, and my cousin Terry took me over to Anaheim to see the Angels. And I went to, I think, Disneyland when we were out there as well. And I went to a few other
UCLA's
interesting
campus
places.
UCLA's campus was Olympic Village. I don't know, people didn't want to say
Yeah,
that.
actually,
South Central.
it's funny. Westwood Village was unbelievable, and I got to spend some
Oh,
time at a
it's
place
crazy.
called Santo Pietro. Let me finish, Mel. When Mary Lou Retton did her thing. All right, let's get going. All right, so all right, Candy, did you mention your thing about USC
Yep.
leaving?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure we continue on. All right, well, you want to talk about Steve Young? He wasn't too thrilled with the decision for Philip Rivers either, and he was actually mad. He was actually mad about at the Colts for signing the 44-year-old Philip Rivers and letting him return to the NFL. The best athletes in the world get hurt preparing year round, and you're gonna show up after being on the couch 4 years. He goes on to say that Philip Rivers is now the 5th, and then this goes on to say Philip Rivers is not the 5th oldest QB in the NFL to throw a touchdown. Add that to the Steve Young 7th, 5th oldest. All right, some thoughts, Marvin.
Sounds like jealousy and hate to me. Why are you hating on this man getting an opportunity to go out there and play the game that you love and he getting the check? I know Steve ain't broke. I know Steve's a Hall of Famer, but trust me, many men miss the game. I miss payday and game day, and I miss being with the boys. But I think that's a horrible take for Steve, man. Be happy for this dude.
Well,
I mean, I think I've said it before. As a franchise, you should have a younger guy. Again, we should be just trying to develop somebody. And I know they thought they had opportunity to do something, maybe something special in the playoffs. But they should have had somebody there that they could have inserted, or if got picked up off the practice squad, that they can try to develop and see where that quarterback could have taken him. And Philip Rivers to do what he did, I don't blame him for doing it. If he was able to do it, go ahead and take that check. He's got a lot of kids. It's not going to hurt for him to get some extra game checks. I don't blame him for doing it. They called him. Can you do it? Yeah. I mean, if they call Marvin right now, say, Marvin, man, we need you for 1 short yardage and goal line. I think he has it in him. He'll go ahead and take that check for 1 short yardage and goal line. So I don't blame him for doing it because he's not in the position where he's going to get hurt. Now, if they say, hey, Marvin, we need you for a whole game, he might change. That's a little different story, especially depending on the team that he's going to be playing. If you're going to be playing a real physical defense with some big old linebackers and stuff like that, it'd be real difficult for Marvin to go ahead and do that. But for 1 play, he can do it.
Candy?
I can't.
Let's face it. 64 years old, Young was skeptical about Rivers signing, but he joked that he was offended that the Colts didn't call him first. Come on now. 64 years old playing a game against 20-year-olds that are hitting hard. Kudos to Philip Rivers for taking the chance, for doing it. He's been a coach. He's been involved in the game. He loves the game. but it's his decision, and it was the Colts' decision, and that's the two parties that matter the most. So, Steve Young, you're trying to be just part of the media and trying to report and make something a little bit more out of nothing.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you know what? I've been on the Philip Rivers train. I'm glad he was able to play some solid football coming back. More power to him. Let's continue on. One of the classiest moves I've ever seen was a viral show when the Indianapolis Colts owner Carly Ursay Gordon was going down an entire line of Colts fans before a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, signing every autograph and taking every picture requested. Her father, Jim Irsay, would be proud, wouldn't he, Mel?
Probably so, I guess. I mean,
And she's
that was probably. That's great that she's engaging with the fans. I think that that ownership should do that. Should engage with the fans. Should get the fans involved. The fact that she's willing to do that. I believe it's great. Some owners maybe a little bit more standoffish. I don't know.
Marvin.
Yeah, I think it's a great move, classy move. I mean, she's the new, younger owner, face of the franchise from that perspective. And that's really how you build a relationship and show fans what you're about. So, yeah, I applaud that.
Candy.
She's done some really cool things besides that, which I think is really great for fan interaction. She also in Berlin bought a round of drinks for all the fans in attendance. Like, those little things matter, and us bringing them to the foresight is great. I love it. Especially when you see a woman doing those kind of things in what has been predominantly a man's sport.
Yeah, I look for these kinds of stories. That's why I continuously bring them up. All right, let's talk about the Vanderbilt Commodores. And the LSU drop-off. When you think about LSU's drop-off this year, they were actually underdogs versus Vanderbilt for the first time in 77 years. The last time that happened actually was in 1948. And guess what? LSU lost to Vandy. And Vandy's first win versus LSU in 35 years, Brian Kelly actually led to him being fired. It wasn't quite after that game. He's 5-10 against ranked teams as LSU's head coach. That's one of the things that got Kelly run out of town. We'll talk about Brian Kelly at a later date. So let's talk. What about you, Marvin? What are your thoughts about the fact that LSU went so far down and that Vanderbilt, and they were actually underdogs to Vanderbilt?
Listen, in the day of NIL and transfer portal, teams who you didn't know about, didn't think about are now relevant. Leadership matters, consistency matters, being able to pay these guys matters. And if you can't keep your stuff aligned and you can't keep everything tight, you're going to see this happen, man. Anybody can get beat. College football is super competitive. You know what I'm saying? Super competitive, and no-name teams are coming out there, hence Indiana, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, coming out the woodwork, beating teams' butt. LSU, they got a head coach now. They're going to be okay. But, yeah, this is just the beginning of things to come with these no-name teams being able to beat bigger teams and being favored as well.
Mel?
Yeah, I don't think it's no-name teams. I think I talked about teams aren't going to have the depth anymore. Teams aren't going to be able to stack their rosters with 5-star, 4-star, with blue chip recruits. These blue chip recruits they're going to want to play, and they're going to want to play early, and they're going to have opportunities to do it at universities that traditionally weren't powerhouses. So now you have Indiana, who's up and coming now. You have some other universities out there as well that want to be players. You got Texas Tech. You got all these other schools out there that want to be players and are willing to put their money where their mouth is and go out there and get some of these players so that they can be relevant. So it's good for college football. You're not going to see the same old teams year in and year out in the college playoffs.
Candy?
I agree with Mel. In the day now and age of NIL, it's about how much money you can get to recruit the players that you want to recruit. So yes, there are going to be teams that are going to be up there that might have, NFL player that is, putting a lot of money where he played school. So you might get a lot more talent because everybody wants to be showcased and paid. So they're going to go to a school that maybe they wouldn't have gone to before because they want to be the starter. They want to get paid. I love it. I think it evens some of the playing field a little bit more than just when they didn't get paid.
Again, Vanderbilt's been a great story all year. We all know that LSU, and we'll talk about the recent hire of their new athletic director at some point down the road. But as we wrap it up, we have one more topic to get to. I know Mel has to get to work. Thanks for hanging with us. But we all enjoy this banner that you and Marvin have. So if it goes on, that's part of the entertainment process of what we do. Our final topic of the morning is this. The record against top 25 opponents. James Franklin is 18 and 15 and 28. And for Matt Campbell, 16 and 27. Both have new area codes. Some thoughts, Marvin, about both of these two. They obviously didn't do well against top 25 opponents, sub 500, but now they both have fresh starts.
James Franklin's a good coach. Obviously, he was never able to get over the hump at Penn State. I think that VTech is a good spot for him. I think that's kind of where he's at. I think he'll do well. Matt Campbell, I think, is up and coming. I think he helped to keep Iowa State's name out there. I think he was competitive, and it'd be interesting to see what he does with this opportunity.
Mel?
Yeah, I don't think you're comparing apples to apples. I mean, he was one coach was at Iowa State, which is a very difficult school. He's made that program relevant, and then the other one's at Penn State, where there was big expectations there. James Franklin had a lot to do with those expectations, but they've been playing good football at Penn State for a while. Pittsburgh, the state of Pennsylvania, is a recruiting hotbed as well. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, it just seemed like Coach Franklin got tight in those big games. So we'll see what happens now that the Iowa State coach is there. See if he can win some of those games that Coach Franklin was unable to win, and see if Coach Franklin learned anything that he can take down to Virginia Tech and see if he can bring a national championship down there.
Katie?
Scott, we were at the bowl game when Matt Campbell and Iowa State were, and we said at that point that we knew that this was a stepping stone coaching job for him, that we knew he was going to get to another level. We just didn't know where or when. But kudos to him, because he's won coach of the Big 12 Coach of the Year numerous times. He won MAC Coach of the Year. He was really good in 2024. Iowa State was 11-3, and that's when we got to see him. Good coach, exciting to see what he's going to do. And sometimes for like James Franklin, it's about just a different viewpoint, different atmosphere, different college. He just couldn't get over the hump at Penn State, but maybe he can going to Virginia Tech. It'll be interesting to see how well both of them do.
Candy, I'll end it on that note. It'll definitely be interesting to see how both of them play out in their new situations for sure. All right, as we get ready to wrap the show up, Mel, let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
On social media at Melfar Jr. You can follow what we have going on for the youth at melfarsuperstarfoundation.org.
And of course, you can see Mel on Tuesday and obviously on Saturday mornings on Inside the Pigskin. We have our big panel on Tuesday, and then we have the boxing match that ensues, Marvin against Mel, which I always look very hard to find UCLA, USC topics, because I know exactly what I get out of these two entertainers. All right, Marvin, let everybody know how to get a hold of you. All he knows there's enough places with you and I doing our stuff.
Yeah, you can catch me, Marvin Powell III. My handle on social media, Marvin on the mic. I'm with the South Florida Tribune Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening, Saturday morning. You can catch me at Bucks, Jazz, Nets, and Kings Round Table. You can catch me on Locked On USC, and looking forward to more here with the Tribune.
All right, very good. Candy, take us the rest of the way. You had a barcode up there. Put it up there again. Let everybody know what it's all about. So take us home the rest of the way, Candy.
So the barcode, if you want to scan it, this will take you right directly to our YouTube channel, and then you can hit that subscribe button, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the media business. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or be a guest, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of Inside the Pigskin. So, what a great week it's been. Want to wish everybody a happy new year, a prosperous 2026 for sure. And obviously, Anthony Lewis was nice enough to repost the stream. Anthony Lewis is a real stud of ours here, and we use him on baseball, and he's going to be doing baseball on Saturdays eventually. And he works with Sports Today, one of my better prospects for sure. So, on behalf of Candy Appling, Mel Farr Jr., Marvin Paul III, and of course, Scott Solomon at the beginning of the show, my name is Scott Morganroth. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday edition of Inside the Pigskin. We will see you on Tuesday night with an awful lot more to bring to you in the wonderful world of football. Take care, everybody. Mel, have a good weekend. See you Tuesday night, my friend. Okay?
Bye, guys.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the football. Bye now.